Well, hello and g'day from Melbourne, Australia. My name is Rach Barbounis. I'm an independent consultant and a national vice president with Arbonne International. And I'm really excited and quite honoured actually to be sharing a training with Anne Central Nation when she told me that it was all about connecting with each other and reconnecting with your purpose and your vision. I was in because this is something that I'm really, really passionate about, and that is your purpose. So I first met Anne 4 or 5 Maui's ago when I was attending my very first Maui trip with my family as a brand new MVP, and our daughters became fast friends, which is something that I'll never forget. So that was really special memories for me. So let's get into our training. Now, guys, this business, Arbonne, it's not a numbers business, it's a vision business. And you will not get anywhere in this business, in network marketing, or even in life, unless you first know exactly where you're going. So Earl Nightingale, one of the original motivational speakers and author of The Stranger's Secret. If you can get your hands on that book, do that. It will take you about an hour to read. It's amazing. He said, any person with a goal that they're working towards is a successful person. So just having a goal makes you a success. And a person without a goal, Earl says, belongs to the 95% of people who are just living day by day, week by week, month after month, like a starfish. That's what he says, like a starfish. Don't be a starfish. He says a man without a goal, or a woman, obviously, is like a ship without a rudder. So this doesn't mean that you have to have enormous goals at all. You just have to be crystal clear on what your goals are, and you have to decide that they're not just possible for you, they're actually inevitable for you. So striving towards your goal daily, even if your actions are tiny and your results seem really slow to show up, it is so important because, as Earl Nightingale says, you become what you think about most of the time. So he said the trouble with most people, it's not actually whether or not they achieve their goal, it's actually establishing a goal in the first place. So if you want to achieve something, you first have to set it as a goal so you can focus on that, think about that, and immerse yourself in that. And Earl Nightingale says the law of you becoming what you think about most of the time, it's absolute. And we get what we think about most of the time, every time. So why is it then that so few of us actually achieve the goals that we set? So James Allen, who wrote another very old book, I'm reading a lot of turn of the century, last century books at the moment, but James Allen wrote As a Man Thinketh, another one that everyone should read. He says, good thoughts and actions can never produce bad results. But bad thoughts and actions can never produce good results. So the trouble is, when most people don't see immediate results, or have a smooth ride all the way to wherever it is they want to go, they let fear and worry and doubt creep in, and then they lose focus on where they're going, so they veer out of their lane and away from their goal. So they might think that they're thinking about their goal, but their ego and their subconscious mind is actually fully focused on failure and fear, lack, worry, scarcity. So that's what shows up. So James Allen says failure, when you're working towards your goal or your purpose, it's actually essential. And you need to fail over and over again and again until the weakness that's actually holding you back is overcome. So he says strength of the character that's gained by overcoming your failures, that's the measure of true success. And that's actually what forms a new starting point for your future triumphs. So, guys, don't let failures or setbacks hold you back. Allow them to propel you forward. Know that they're serving you. And James Allen also says, like, when you understand the role of failure in your journey, let it give you courage. Let it give you courage to exert yourself towards your goal. And when you keep adding effort to effort and patience to patience, strength to strength, like, you will achieve what you set out to do. And he says, whatever your present environment may be, you will fall, remain, or rise with your thoughts, your vision, and your goal. So if you don't know what your goal is right now, it's kind of like deciding to go for a drive without a destination. So you're likely to just drive around in circles over and over again, and most likely end up exactly where you started. So in Arbonne, if you don't know where you're going, and look out, here comes a velvet sledgehammer, but if you don't know where you're going, then you're probably already there. So James Allen says, if we think about nothing, we become nothing. So in your car, when you think about this, when you want to go to a destination that you've never been to before, you simply just program your GPS these days. And then you can set out with absolute certainty that you will end up at your destination. And if stormy weather hits and visibility is poor and you can't see 2 feet in front of you, you never once think, oh, well, I'm not going to get there now because I can't see my destination from here. You just have faith that the GPS is going to guide you step by step, turn by turn, until you actually arrive at your destination. So in Arbonne and in your team system and system for success is your GPS. So if you commit to your step-by-step system and actions and you keep going, like every time you share our products or our business, or you show up for trainings like you're doing now, or you do personal development, you grow yourself, you actually get closer to who you need to be to get to where you want to go. There are no shortcuts. Sorry about that. So when you skip any of the steps that I just mentioned, sharing the product, sharing the business, showing up, doing the PD, growing yourself, when you skip any of these steps, you're simply rerouting your GPS back to exactly where you started from. So if in your car, if your GPS takes you the long way around to avoid obstacles or traffic jams, you don't just pull over to the side of the road and say to your passengers, well, sorry guys, we're never going to get there because, well, we're not there yet. Like, that actually doesn't even make sense, does it? And yet people do that in Arbonne all of the time. Have you done this? Have you decided that you'll never achieve a goal for no other reason than, well, you're not there yet and you've been at your current location for too long? Guys, that's when people give up on their commitment to their journey and they don't stay the course. You know, funny stories, I actually told my entire upline that I was quitting when I was a struggling district manager, my entire upline, and I quit. But lucky for me, my retirement only lasted 24 hours because, you know what, 3 years later, 3 years after I quit, I was a national vice president. So just think about that. I could be a retired district manager right now. Instead, I've been a national vice president for the last 4 years. So in any sales industry, 1 in 10 people will say yes. You've probably heard that. It's a numbers game. So I often hear people with no team in Arbonne say things like, oh, no one wants to do this business. And yet when you look at their stats, they've actually shown less than 10 people the business. You know, you can't be committed to your dream if you want to attain it. right? You actually have to be committed to the process, and that's very different. And you have to be committed to whatever it is that shows up in your journey in order to get there. So when you hear people say things like, well, the only way to fail is to quit. I've heard Linda Parker say that a lot. What they mean is, don't just hang around long enough and you'll get there. Like, you actually have to commit to the journey, each turn, each step, the storms, the rainy weather, the roadblocks, the detours, and all of those things, and just follow the GPS, which is your system. Show the presentation until show the presentation to people until someone joins you. You know, share the products with people until someone buys from you. Do the personal development and turn up to trainings until you become the person that you need to be to take you to the next level. Be someone that you would want to actually follow. And then, you know what? Just repeat. Stop dwelling on the past. Stop getting distracted by other people's journeys or other people's companies. Definitely stop comparing your journey to other Arbonne consultants, or obsessing maybe over other people's Instagram, or being intimidated by other people's Instagram. Guys, just stay in your lane. So our CEO, Jean-David Swartz, said to the NVPs a few weeks ago that 2020 has been our best year in Arbonne in 15 years. He has this clear vision of where we're going as a company, and Groupe Rocher, they back him, right? They've already invested $25 million into Arbonne since they acquired us. And he told us that Groupe Rocher are going to invest another $25 million because they can see JD's vision and where he is taking us as a company. So he said that he gets phone calls and messages from NVPs all the time saying, JD, this company's doing this, or JD, this company's doing that. And his words were to us, and I love this, he said, I don't care, in his gorgeous French accent. I don't care. He said, I know where we are going, and I'm staying focused on that with my blinders on. Now, that is the perfect example of staying in your lane. Guys, JD's vision is so big and so clear. Pretty much every time he shares it with the NVPs, guaranteed someone will end up in tears, or multiple NVPs will cry, because his belief is just, his belief and his faith in us is just unwavering, and it fills us with emotion and excitement and inspiration every time he speaks about our future. So every time he speaks about our next destination, the NVPs will want to jump in his convoy. Think about this. Every time, every single one of you is the CEO of your business. So when you speak about where you're going with your Arbonne business, do people buy into your vision like we buy into JD's? Do they come to a screeching halt on their journey, whatever path they're on, and back their truck up and pull in right behind you because you know where you're going? Or do they walk away because they can't be sure that you might not run out of gas somewhere down the road and abandon your vehicle? So I have just finished reading another incredible book, Viktor Frankl's story of surviving the Nazi concentration camps, a man's search for meaning. He says repeatedly in this book, when you have a why, you can survive anyhow. Now, what he meant by this is that when you have a purpose or an end goal that you want to achieve, like, anything can be thrown at you and you will overcome it no matter what, because the power of a true purpose and knowing your purpose will always drive you forward. You know, his story, and I would encourage you to read this, was so incredible and moving and inspiring and uplifting. I get emotional just thinking about it, actually. He endured so much, and yet he repeated this message: when you have a why, you can endure anyhow, multiple times throughout his book, because despite everything, he wanted the readers to know, and he wanted to share this message that we can do anything when we are driven by a purpose or we have some meaning to devote our lives to. Now, that message, that was certainly not wasted on me. You know, especially right now, I thought, who are we to complain about isolating, you know, during this pandemic in our homes with our loved ones? You know, having to pivot and do business a little bit differently, rely more on online events and reach outs and ways to grow our business, you know, change the way we operate so we can flourish should we choose to during these times. Like, who are we to complain that we haven't promoted through the levels in our comp plan on our preferred timeline? Like James Allen said, we cannot directly choose our circumstances, but we can choose our thoughts. And so directly and surely you can shape your circumstances. So with Arbonne, I just get so excited about this. Like, we get to serve others and change lives with our products and with our business. Like, we get to help others see further and become more. We get to earn more ourselves so we can give more to our community and to our families. And we can create a ripple effect, a ripple effect that extends way beyond ourselves. Like, we can actually use this business to create abundance so we don't have to waste energy thinking about bills or school fees or paying the house payments or rent. Like, this abundance can allow us to stay focused on the truly important stuff, our purpose, our growth, and helping others achieve their purpose and their growth. But you know what it starts with? It starts with knowing what you truly want. I see so many people give up on their Arbonne journeys because they keep reliving what's happened in the past and what they don't want. Like, I hear people saying things like, oh, everyone I sponsor into the business always quits. So they stop asking people to actually look at the business. Guys, during your journey, like, people are going to jump in and out of your car. Some might decline a ride with you altogether. Some might simply hitch a ride with you to the next town, do what they need to do, and then maybe jump back on a train right back to where they came from. But that does not stop you from continuing on to your destination. Like, if you want to get to nation or beyond, just keep driving. You know, talk to loads of people along the way, drive them to where they want to go with this. Okay, but then you just keep driving until you find some people who want to go where you're going, right? They're out there. They are out there on the side of the road. They are either lost or they are trying to hitchhike out of where they are, and they are literally waiting for someone just like you to stop and offer them a ride. You're not going to get far though, guys, if you spend most of your time in your car looking through your rear view mirror. Like, there is a reason that the front windscreen is huge and the rear view mirror is so tiny. Guys, stop looking backwards. You know, wherever you came from, it actually no longer serves you. And even if you had success in the past, you need to know this: yesterday's success, it's not going to bring you tomorrow's success. Today's work will. Okay, so if you feel any negativity, shame, disappointment, or even regret about where you are right now or where you have been perhaps in the past, if you want to move forward, just transfer the energy you're wasting on that into excitement and optimism, hope and belief about exactly what's available to you. So Jay Shetty, a modern day author this time, he wrote Think Like a Monk. He said, do not feel negativity about the past, because to think those feelings again is to reinfect yourself. Because, like Earl Nightingale says, you are what you think about most. So guys, I felt like I struggled for the first few years in my business, but through personal development, I actually learned that everything that happened to me in my business and in life was happening for me, not to me. So whenever an obstacle would pop up or somebody said no, somebody quit, someone judged me, no one bought a product, I missed a big goal, I thanked the universe for those times. I thanked them. I thanked the universe for sending me an opportunity to help me grow into who I needed to be to get to my next level. So as I was building Tenation, I had this, and it sounds really funny, but I had this really clear vision in my head. I was the Terminator, okay? I was in robot form and I was just moving forward in slow motion, step by step by step by step. Guys, I had so many different random things thrown at me during this time. So I felt like, cars and missiles as the Terminator were being hurled at me. But, I went nation actually with a broken nose. I couldn't talk without pain. You know what? In JD's words, I didn't care. I did not care. Whatever was thrown at me, I simply deflected it and I took another step. Right? I was so laser beam focused on where I was going. I could see it clearly. I could feel it. I could feel it, and nothing was going to stop me. I was actually busier building Tenation than I ever had been in my life with my young family. And yet, strangely, like when you get into momentum, you feel more in control of your destiny than you ever will have before. Busy used to scare me when I was a struggling district manager. Anything can actually sideswipe you when you don't know where you're going, and that was me. But when you know your goal, obstacles, they're just like speed humps or speed bumps. They might slow you down a little bit, but they're not roadblocks. Use those speed bumps, guys, as an opportunity to simply gain better control of your vehicle. So when we say the first step to achieving your goal in Arbonne is to decide. So you've probably heard that before. Just decide. Just decide. Look, what we really mean is commit. Just commit. Commit to where you want to go. Commit to where you want to go, and you need to immerse yourself in the process, and you need to live, talk, breathe like your goal is already done. You already are the MVP, the RVP, the AM, whatever it is you're striving for. Earl Nightingale says that if you want to achieve your goal, you have to pay the price of becoming the person that you want to become. And he said that's not nearly as difficult as living unsuccessfully. And I know this to be true. So in other words, like what this means is it's easier to pretend to be who you want to be than living with regret over where you're not or what you haven't done. And Michael Beckwith, author of many, many books, he was in The Secret. I love listening to Michael Beckwith. He says, you can't have what you're not willing to become. Like, I love that. You cannot have what you are not willing to become. Wherever you are right now, guys, your goal doesn't have to be huge. Like I said at the start, it doesn't have to be nation. In fact, the best way to get to nation is taking lots of little road trips, one after the other. So your goal could simply be selling 1,000 PQV worth of product. Like whatever your goal is, just take daily steps with excellence to achieve it. And then when you get there and you've achieved that first little goal, we'll reset your GPS immediately to your next goal. Because if you don't do that, you're going to quickly get lost or fail to move forward or start going around in circles again, right back to where you started. So, 1,000 PQV could be a great first sales goal. And then you could set your next goal, 2,500 new volume, right? It could be earning your level award. It could be going into qual for the next level or completing the next level, your next promotion. Whatever it is, just take daily steps with excellence until, okay? Don't look sideways. Don't look backwards. Just keep driving and stay in your lane. PD, personal development, is your fuel. And activity is everything else you need, especially if you break down somewhere along the way, because honestly, guys, income producing activity cures everything in Arbonne, but it starts with a goal. So if you are not fully invested in your goal and your vision and your purpose, why would anyone else invest their money, their time, their energy into your business in some way? Like, no one wants to be your Arbonne experiment. You know, people want to hitch their vehicle to someone who knows where they're going. So stay in your lane and just keep driving. When you know your why, you can endure anyhow. So, like Earl Nightingale says, if you are striving daily towards your goal, you are already a success. And if you don't have a goal to work towards, well, then you're a starfish. Guys, don't be a starfish. That is my training. I hope it spoke to you in some way. I hope you got something out of it. And like I said earlier, wherever you are, I hope you are safe and I hope you are well. Lots and lots of love to you from Melbourne, Australia. Rach Barbunas signing out. Bye.